Dr. Montessori, when she was a small girl, always said anything except teaching.
You can imagine, as mentioned, the time, 1890, and the place, Italy. And the fact that there were no women doctors at that time. Not only there were no women doctors, but it was impossible to conceive of such a thing. And everybody was against it, including her own family. For instance, her father didn't talk to her for years while she was studying.
Alone. How much pain there is in this world. In order to understand it, you should know how much prejudice and jealousy exist in Rome. Women are not welcome in the university. They are tolerated. Women in the university are considered flirts, frivolous, and worse. The professors are accustomed to seeing their daughters attend Mass. The students are used to seeing their sisters at work at home and despise the women who study.
And in order to do some anatomy, she had to go down in the cellar where the cadavers was in order to be able to dissect or whatever work one had to do with a little petrol lamp.
I had to overcome the delicacy of my feelings and education. All of it always alone. I had to bring myself to work on the putrefied remains of an old man. How horrible death is when it begins to disintegrate a body.
Imagine, that was the difficulty, the situation. In spite of that, when the examinations came and the prizes were allotted, she had the first prize. She had graduated with the fullest honors, above all the males who had taken medicine.
And there she discovers, to her human astonishment, I would say, that a group of comparatively small children were kept in a mental asylum and hardly looked after. And then she inquired why they were there and so on, and she found out that they were children whom today we call mentally defective, whom the homes couldn't cope with and the schools couldn't cope with, and the public authorities didn't want on the streets.
It was in those hospitals that I was first confronted with the child question. There were children of the poor by the hundreds in the hospital wards, and my heart and soul were deeply impressed by the conditions of those innocent victims. In them, I saw gathered together all the most vital social questions which appeared to me magnified as though seen through a powerful lens.
She felt that there was some sensitivity that was bringing the child to feel, to kind of understand. And so she felt that there was intelligence, there was basic intelligence, if only she could tap it somehow.
Once the examinations were finished and the results were known, it was an extraordinary surprise. It was an event, because nothing like that had happened. The professionals, after they verified the results, were not only skeptical, they didn't want to believe it, but they had to believe it because they saw it. And my mother also did not want to believe it. But for her, it was another point of view.
While everyone was admiring the progress of my retarded children, I was searching for the reason which could keep the happy, healthy children of the common schools on so low a plane that they could be equaled in tests of intelligence by my deficient pupils.
And that was, I think, a turning point in her life.
The room was simply furnished as if it were an office or a home. It was not bright and cheerful like those classrooms we see today. The children's tables were placed one behind the other like desks in a school. There were no flowers. I had no illusions that I could make any important experiments in such a school. In these circumstances, we began our life of peace and isolation. For a long time, no one noticed what we were doing.
Thinking of what she had done with her defective children, you know, educate movement. So what were the kind of movement patterns that she could bring to these children? And the first thing that struck her was help them to become independent of doing and caring for themselves. And then it struck her that it was better that she asked for small chairs and small tables so that they could learn to move them and to sit in them and use them. See? So the idea of bringing things fashioned to the size of the child came to her. And so she started showing them how they could wash their hands, how they could blow their noses, how they could open and close doors.
And it was in that first environment, which was inaugurated on the Epiphany of 1907, that these surprising phenomena appeared of children who took interest in carrying out the tests, consequently also refused to give them back when the adult in charge thought it was enough. I've seen what I wanted to see, now you can give it back. They wanted to start working with it.
It was surprising to her also.
Very surprising to her. The other phenomena also, children concentrating, children of 3-4 years concentrating.
A child does not become weary with toil. He grows by working, and as a consequence, his work increases his energy. A child never asks to be relieved of his burdens, but simply that he may carry out his mission completely and alone. His life consists in the work of growth, since he must work or die. If adults do not understand this, they will never understand the work of children.